You are standing in a cave in northern Spain. It is 40,000 years ago. The fire is low. You are not alone. Across the fire sits someone who looks almost exactly like you. Broader shoulders, a thicker brow ridge, a shorter, more powerful build. But the same eyes looking back at you, the same hands holding a tool, the same intelligence planning for tomorrow. You do not know what to call this other person. You do not have a word for Neanderthal. You only know that they are like you, but not you, and they are disappearing. Let me ask you something. How many kinds of humans are there on Earth right now? One? Just one. Homo sapiens. That is so normal to you that you have probably never questioned it. But it is not normal. It is not how things have been for most of human history, for most of the last 2 million years. Multiple human species walked the Earth at the same time. At some points, there were 4, 5, maybe 6 different kinds of humans alive simultaneously. They shared continents. They competed for resources. They interbred. They fought. And now only one remains. What happened to all the others? Did we kill them? Did we outcompete them? Did we absorb them into our gene pool? Or did we just watch them disappear? One by one, as the climate changed and the world shifted beneath their feet. This is not just a question about the past, it is a question about us, because understanding why the other humans died tells us something uncomfortable about who we are. Let us start with who the other humans were. The human family tree is more like a bush. It is full of branches that grew, flourished for a while, and then died back. Only one branch. Our branch is still alive. The first human species to leave Africa was Homo erectus. Around 2 million years ago, Homo erectus was incredibly successful. They spread across Asia and survived for nearly 2 million years. That is 10 times longer than Homo sapiens has existed so far. They made the Acheulean hand axe, the same basic tool design, for over 1 million years, the longest-running technology in human history. Imagine using the same phone model for 1 million years. That was Homo erectus. Then there were the Neanderthals. Homo neanderthalensis lived in Europe and Western Asia for over 3 billion years. They were adapted to cold climates. They had larger brains than modern humans. They made sophisticated tools, controlled fire, buried their dead, and probably had language. If anyone deserved to survive, it was them. Then there were the Denisovans, known only from a finger bone and a few teeth found in a cave in Siberia. DNA analysis shows they were a distinct human species that ranged across Asia. From Siberia to Southeast Asia, they interbred with both Neanderthals and modern humans. A 2019 study by Dr. Tunda, Amelia Herta Sanchez at Brown University, found that a Denisovan gene called EpiAC helps modern Tibetans survive at high altitudes. Without that gene, the Tibetan plateau might never have been settled, an extinct species still keeping people alive today. Then there was Homo floresiensis, the hobbit of Flores. Standing barely 1 meter tall, they survived on the island of Flores until about 5,000 years ago. A 2018 study by Dr. Yusu Kaifu at the University of Tokyo showed that despite their chimpanzee-sized brains, their neural architecture was organized for complex cognition. And there were others. Homo heidelbergensis, Homo rhodesiensis, Homo naledi. In 2015, a team led by Dr. Lee Berger at the University of the Witwatersrand discovered Homo naledi in the Rising Star Cave system in South Africa. Over 1,500 fossils from at least 15 individuals, stacked in a remote chamber. The species had a brain 1/3 the size of yours, and hands capable of tool-making, and they may have deliberately placed their dead in that chamber. A small-brained human species, practicing burial rituals. Each one a different experiment in being human. Each one a different answer to the question of how to survive. Each one, eventually, extinct. Let me focus on the Neanderthals. Because their story is the most personal, Neanderthals and modern humans shared a common ancestor around 6 billion years ago. We split apart. They went to Europe. We stayed in Africa. For 500,000 years, we evolved separately in different environments under different pressures. By the time we met again, we were different species, but maybe not different enough. When modern humans finally left Africa and entered Europe around 405,000 years ago. We met our cousins for the first time in 500,000 years. What happened next is one of the most debated questions in paleoanthropology. One theory is that we killed them. Modern humans had better weapons, better hunting strategies, and more efficient social networks. We could outcompete Neanderthals for resources. We may have actively hunted them or destroyed their populations through violence. A second theory is that we simply outbred them. Modern humans had higher fertility rates, shorter generation times, and lower infant mortality. Given the same resources, a population that reproduces faster will eventually replace a population that reproduces slower. It is simple population math. A third theory is that we infected them. Modern humans carried diseases from Africa to which Neanderthals had no immunity, like smallpox in the Americas. These diseases may have devastated Neanderthal populations before direct contact even occurred. Imagine being wiped out by a cough from a stranger you barely touched. A fourth theory is that climate change did it. Around 4,000 years ago, Europe experienced a period of extreme climate fluctuation. Temperatures swung wildly. Forests turned to tundra. Megafauna populations crashed. Neanderthals, who were specialized for cold environments, could not adapt fast enough. Modern humans, who were generalists, could. The truth is probably a combination of all four. But here is what makes the Neanderthal story so haunting. They were not primitive brutes. They were intelligent, capable, and deeply human. They cared for their injured. A Neanderthal skeleton from Shanidar Cave in Iraq shows a man who survived multiple severe injuries, including a crushed eye socket and a withered arm. Cared for by his group for years, they buried their dead with flowers. Pollen clusters found around a Neanderthal burial at Shanidar suggest flowers were laid on the grave. They may have had language, art, and perhaps even music. A Neanderthal-era bone flute from Slovenia is one of the oldest musical instruments ever found. And yet, they are gone and we are here. Let me tell you what the genetic evidence reveals. In 2010, Dr. Svante Pabo at the Max Planck Institute for Evolutionary Anthropology published the first draft of the Neanderthal genome. It was a scientific landmark. For the first time, we could read the genetic code of an extinct human species. The results were shocking. Between 1 and 4% of the DNA of modern humans of European and Asian descent comes from Neanderthals. This means that when modern humans left Africa and met Neanderthals, we did not just kill them. We also had sex with them, not occasionally, repeatedly, across multiple encounters, spanning thousands of years. A 2020 study by Dr. Joshua Aki at Princeton University showed that interbreeding happened in multiple waves, in different places, across different time periods. Neanderthal genes in modern humans affect everything from skin color to immune function to depression risk. Some Neanderthal genes helped us adapt to cold climates. Others made us more susceptible to certain diseases. It is a genetic bargain. We got their cold adaptation. We also got their allergies. Then came the Denisovan genome in 2012. Pabo's team sequenced DNA from a finger bone found in Denisova Cave in Siberia. The DNA belonged to a previously unknown human species, and traces of that species are found in modern populations across Asia and Australia, in Papua New Guinea and indigenous Australia. Up to 6% of the genome comes from Denisovans. A 2018 study by Dr. Sharon Browning at the University of Washington found evidence of multiple interbreeding events between Denisovans and modern humans, including a specific event that introduced a gene that helps the immune system recognize foreign DNA. This changes everything. The extinction of other human species was not a clean replacement. It was a messy, complicated process of conflict, coexistence, and interbreeding. The other humans did not completely disappear. They are still inside you, about 2% of you. On average, if you are non-African, that is not a metaphor. That is a genetic fact. Let me tell you about the most surprising human species ever discovered. In 2003, archaeologists working on the island of Flores in Indonesia discovered a skeleton that changed everything. We thought we knew about human evolution. It was a female, about 1 meter tall, with a brain the size of a chimpanzee's. She lived around 6,000 years ago. She was a toolmaker. She used fire. She hunted small animals. They named her Homo floresiensis. Everyone calls her the hobbit. The discovery raised an uncomfortable question. How could a human with a brain the size of a grapefruit make tools, control fire, and hunt? The answer challenged our assumption that brain size equals intelligence. A 2018 study by Dr. Yusuke Kaifu at the University of Tokyo analyzed the brain shape of Homo floresiensis and found that, despite its small size, the brain was organized in a way that supported complex cognition. The hobbits were not smart. Despite their small brains, they were smart with their small brains. Their neurons were packed more densely, the folds deeper, the connections more efficient. The existence of Homo floresiensis tells us something important. There is not one way to be human. There are many ways, and we almost lost all of them. Let me take you to Siberia. Denisova Cave in the Altai Mountains is one of the most important archaeological sites in the world. It has yielded evidence of 3 different human species: Neanderthals, Denisovans, and modern humans. All 3 lived in the same cave at different times. Maybe they even lived there at the same time. The Denisovans are a mystery because we have almost no fossils. We know them primarily from DNA extracted from a finger bone and a few teeth. But that DNA tells an extraordinary story. A 2019 study by Dr. Amelia Huerta Sanchez at Brown University showed that a specific Denisovan gene variant called epiases helps modern Tibetans and Sherpas survive at high altitudes. The gene was inherited from Denisovans through interbreeding. Without Denisovan DNA, the colonization of the Tibetan plateau may not have been possible. Think about that. A gene from an extinct human species living inside modern people, allowing them to live in places that would otherwise kill them. The other humans did not just die. They left pieces of themselves inside us, pieces that still shape our lives today. Let me tell you about the species that almost made it. Homo erectus. Homo erectus was the longest surviving human species. They appeared around 2 million years ago and survived until about 1 billion years ago. That is nearly 2 million years of existence. To put that in perspective, Homo sapiens has been around for about 3 billion years. If we survive as long as Homo erectus, humans will still be walking the earth 1.5 million years from now. Homo erectus was the first human species to leave Africa, the first to control fire, the first to make standardized stone tools, the first to hunt large game. They survived through multiple ice ages, through volcanic eruptions, through sea level changes that reshaped the continents. A 2011 study by Dr. Susan Anton at New York University showed that Homo erectus had a body size and limb proportions remarkably similar to modern humans, meaning they were already efficient long-distance walkers and runners 2 million years ago. They did not just survive, they thrived, and then they vanished. Why? The most likely explanation is that they were gradually replaced by later human species. Homo heidelbergensis evolved from Homo erectus in Africa and Europe. Neanderthals evolved from Homo heidelbergensis in Europe. Modern humans evolved from Homo heidelbergensis in Africa. Homo erectus did not go extinct so much as evolve into other species. Their lineage continued, transformed in us in a very real sense. Homo erectus is not extinct, it is just wearing a different body. Let me ask you the hard question. Why us? Why did Homo sapiens survive when every other human species died? There are several theories. One is our cognitive flexibility. We are not specialized for any particular environment. We are generalists. We can live in the jungle, the desert, the Arctic, the mountains, the coast. When the climate changed, Neanderthals were trapped in their cold adapted niche. We simply moved. A second is our social structure. Modern humans have larger social networks than other human species. We trade, share information, and cooperate with strangers. This allowed us to pool resources during hard times and share innovations across large distances. A 2014 study by Dr. Kim Hill at Arizona State University found that hunter-gatherer social networks extend hundreds of kilometers, with individuals maintaining relationships with people they may see only once a year. That network was our safety net. A third is our technology. We developed more efficient hunting weapons, better clothing, and more sophisticated shelters. We could extract more calories from the environment than any other human species. The bow and arrow. invented around 7,000 years ago, gave us a range advantage over Neanderthal spears. A fourth is our language. Some researchers argue that modern humans had a more advanced form of language that allowed us to plan, coordinate, and transmit complex information with precision. Neanderthals may have had language too, but ours was more flexible. You could explain a plan for next week's hunt. They could only coordinate today's. A 2015 study by Dr. Christveassen at Eindhoven, University of Technology, modeled the population dynamics of Neanderthal and modern human groups. The study found that even small differences in cognitive ability, social connectivity, and technological efficiency could lead to the disappearance of one species within a few thousand years. We did not win because we were superior. We won because we had a slight edge in a few different areas, and that edge was enough. Let me address the most uncomfortable question of all. Did our ancestors commit genocide? The word genocide means the deliberate killing of a people or ethnic group. If modern humans actively hunted and killed, that would qualify as genocide. The archaeological evidence is ambiguous. There are Neanderthal skeletons with cut marks that resemble butchery marks. There are stone tools embedded in Neanderthal bones, but these could be the result of scavenging or isolated conflicts, not systematic extermination. A 2017 study by Dr. Nace. Pat Shipman at Pennsylvania State University argued that the rapid spread of modern humans and the simultaneous decline of Neanderthals is consistent with competitive exclusion rather than direct violence. Competitive exclusion happens when two species occupy the same ecological niche, and one is slightly better at using resources. The inferior competitor slowly starves, not because it is attacked, but because it cannot find enough food. This is not comforting. It means that we may not have needed to kill the other humans. We just needed to be slightly better at being human, and that was enough to push them into extinction. But there is another possibility. The interbreeding evidence shows that we did not just compete with other humans. We also mated with them. We absorbed them. The other humans did not completely disappear as a genetic lineage. They were folded into our gene pool. Their DNA lives on in billions of people today. This is not genocide. It is something more complicated. It is replacement through a combigenetic cooperation and interbreeding. We did not destroy the other humans. We consumed them. Let me tell you what makes this story personal. You are here because your ancestors were the best at being human, not the strongest, not the fastest, not the most specialized, just the most flexible, the most adaptable, the most willing to change. A 2019 study by Dr. Curtis Marian at Arizona State University argued that the key to modern human success was our ability to occupy marginal environments. While Neanderthals stayed in their preferred habitats, modern humans pushed into deserts, rainforests, and coastlines. Every time we expanded into a new environment, those skills made us more adaptable. That adaptability let us expand further. It was a positive feedback loop that no other human species could break into. But here is the uncomfortable part. Our adaptability came at a cost. We are so good at changing our environment that we often destroy it. We are so good at outcompeting other species that we drive them extinct. We are so good at extending that we have covered the entire planet. The same traits that made us the last human species standing are the traits that now threaten our survival. Our adaptability has led to climate change or to survive ourselves. Let me look forward. We are currently the only human species on Earth, but that may not all. Dr. George Church at Harvard Medical School announced that his team had created the first Neanderthal mini-brains from stem cells containing Neanderthal DNA. The technical barriers to full de-extinction are still enormous, but they are no longer science fiction. A 2023 paper in Nature debated the ethics of de-extinction, raising questions about whether resurrected Neanderthals would be human, exhibits, or something in between. Then there is the question of human evolution itself. Homo sapiens is not the end of the story. We are still evolving. Our children will not be identical to us. And in a few 100,000 years, if we survive that long, there may be new human species again. But there is a darker possibility. We may be the last human species, not because we are the best, but because we are the last. If we drive ourselves extinct through climate change, nuclear war, or ecological collapse, there will be no one to replace us. No Neanderthals waiting in the wings. No Denisovans ready to take over. They are already gone. If we go, humanity goes. That is the weight of being the last human species. Let me ask you to look at your own hands. They are the same shape, as Neanderthal hands. They are the same shape as the hands that painted the caves of Lascaux. They are the same shape as the hands that will build our future. If we have one, you carry the legacy of every human species that ever lived. You carry their genes, their tools, their songs, their stories. You carry their failures and their successes. You carry their extinction inside your own survival. The other humans are gone, but they are not forgotten. They live in your bones. They live in your DNA. They live in the shape of your brain and the structure of your society. You are the last of your kind, but you are also the sum of every kind that came before. You are not just one human species, you are all of them, the one who carries everyone else.